I'm across because I couldn't find no slips locally. So I got online. Boom. I typed in wholesale onion slips, and this what came up. Boom. First thing on Google. Then I hit them up, and then I ordered what they had available. So they had available was some of these candy onions. But the first thing first, when they opened up the box, I made a mistake, guys. I put them in water. You should not put them in water. You should actually let them dry out. That's like the first thing you need to do and make sure they're like in a dark area. I didn't know that because I've been planting them how I thought since I've been came up, but it came with some instructions. Let me read the instructions to you. Before you plant, remove plants from the box immediately upon receipt. Do not put the soil or water before planting. Keep cool and dry until you plant. All right. So number one, while the enclosed plant may appear dry, don't be alarmed. They're simply dormant. Don't worry if you can't plant them immediately. Even if the roots or tips are beginning to dry out, the onions can live off the bud approximately for 3 weeks. And then do remove the plants from the box immediately. Keep them in a well ventilated, cool area until you can't plant them. Do not put them in the soil or water of refrigerator. Refrigerated. Sorry. Soil preparation. Onions require full sun, good soil drainage. Choose a location that gets plenty of direct sun. Onions grow best on raised beds or raised rows, at least 4 inch high. That's how I plant mine too. I like to put them in like beds. I got like this duck hole, and I make like a duck hole and just start planting them and stuff. 20 inch wide. The soil should be loose and crumpy. If it's compact, work and compost improve erosion drainage for a container growing. Be sure there is at least 10 inches of soil depth. To stop weeds for up to 6 weeks, rake a pre emerged herbicide such as Teflon. I don't use that. I just weed my garden because I don't like to add that towards my soil. Corn gluten meal into the top inch of the soil before you plant. Don't worry, the herbicides will not affect the onion plant roots. I just don't believe in herbicides because I feel like it affects your soil. Okay. Soil, but if you want to use it, you can use it. Be my guest. To make it easier, just put down like a mulch, what they call mulch, black mulch tarp. So you can lay one of those down and then you can just start putting holes in them. You can do it like that too. Soil type. It's helpful to know whether your soil is acid pH below 7.0 or alkaline pH above 7. Onions prefer soil with a pH between 6.2 and 6.8. Your agricultural extension service can test your soil for you, or you can buy a home test kit at your local garden center. All right, so guys, always remember that. Plant your onions for number two. Plant your onions 4 to 6 weeks before the last estimate's spring freeze. So I'm getting these in late, guys. I usually plant my onions a little bitty early, but hey, we're gonna see can we get us a nice little growth, you know. Or recommend shipping week chart by zip code. Based on the date, your agriculture extension service can tell you when the best time to grow. So you really want to look up your plant zone. That's what it's telling you. Like you want to go on the USDA or you want to go type on Google my plant zone and then you'll put in like your zip code and stuff like that. All right. And use fertilizer with the middle number higher than the other two, such as 10, 20, 10. So you want to have 10% nitrogen, 20% phosphorus, 10% potassium. So that's what you want. All right. Dig a trench that's 4 deep and 4 inches wide. Sprinkle 1 to 2 cups of fertilizer per 10 liner feet. Cover the fertilizer with 2 inches of soil. Plant the onion 6 inches from the edge of the trench on both sides of the trench. Do not plant the onions in the trench. Leave a 2 inch margin between the onions and the outside of the bed. Plant the onion 1 inch deep and no deeper, as this will inhibit the ability to debulb. If you want the onions to grow maturity, space them 4 inches apart. If you prefer to harvest some early as green onions, space them 2 inches apart and pull them over and onions during the growing season, leaving the rest to grow to mature. When the plant's several rows of onions, leave 16 inches between the outside edge of the bed and the outside edge of the next spacing from the center of the fertilizer trench to the center should be 36 inches. For container growing, be sure to plant no closer than 3 inches apart for mature onions. Water, fertilizer, and weed. The the better care your onions receive during the growing season, the more likely you'll have beautiful harvests. And we all know we want those big onions, all right? We all want those big onions. But okay, let me read this to y'all. Water throughout planting the regularly. Therefore, onions have shallow roots, so don't let the soil at the base of the plant become dry and cracked. Overwatering, equally watering, the closer to harvest time, the greater the needs to water. However, when the onion tops start falling over, stop watering and let the soil dry out before harvesting. The knuckle rule will help keep the right amount of moisture in your onions. Stick your finger in the ground. If you don't feel the moisture up to your first knuckle, it's time to water. Drip the irrigation or recommend it over the sprinkler, which may promote the rapid spread of disease. Okay, so that's how you water them. Let's get on to the fertilizer. Okay, nutrient nutrients needs are different during the growing season. Every 2 to 3 weeks after planting fertilizer with ammon sulfate in alkaline soil or calcium nitrate in acid soil, sprinkle it on the top. Original fertilizer strips at the rate of 1.5 cup per 10 feet a row. Water the onions after every application. Stop fertilizing when the onions start to bud. Look for the ground to start cracking like the photo in the previous section. So basically you want to see it like cracking up and you want to see your bulbs coming up above the ground. And that's when you know them things are getting ready, man. Weed control. All right. Controlling weeds is critical to prevent competition for the nutrients in application. But like I'm telling you, it's telling you to add Teflon or gluten meal rate into the top inch of the soil every 6 weeks during the growing season. But like I told you, you can use mulch or you can use plastic instead of doing that, the weed bubbling. When the ground start to crack as the onion push the soil away, the bubbling process have begun. Stop fertilizing at this point. So you don't want to start fertilizing when you doing your bulbs start cracking open and stuff. All right. So let's go to number 4. 4, harvest the store proper treatment. Harvest maximize the amount of time you'll be able to store your onion. Harvesting onions when the tops of the onions turn brown or yellow or fall over, it's time to harvest. Ideal, the plant have about 13 leaves at this point. Pull the onions early in the morning or on a sunny day. Dry the onions in the sun for 2 days to prevent sun call, lady. The tops of one row over the bulbs of another. If the rain is expected, you will need to bring them in from the field prior to the rain, as this moisture can causes rotten issue. Cure onions. How long your onions kept depend on how you treat them. After harvesting, after you have dried in the field for a couple of days, it's recommended that they continue the dry process in the shed, garage, or other cooling shaded locations. Be sure the locations is well ventilated so they can breathe. The entire neck where the leaves and the meat and the bulbs should dry all the way to the surface of the onions. It should be slide. When you pinch it, the skin of it take on a uniform texture and color. This is how you know they are done drying. Once they are through drying, clips and roots and cut tops to 1 inch, now they are ready to eat. Storing onions. Store onions in a cool, dry, well ventilated location such as a garage, a cellar. Plant them in a place them in a mesh bag or netted to permit airflow. Check for any soft onions and remove them. As the general rule, sweet onions don't store as long as more as pungent ones. So Use the sweeter onions first. Growing shallots grows best in day areas. Planting. So yeah, y'all get the point, man. This is your plant guide. I hope y'all got all the best tips and information just from this. Y'all continue to watch more videos. We'll be dropping content on planting these things. All right. One love. All right, y'all.